quite pretty, isn't it? But you know what isn't quite so pretty? About 40% of that entire field is going to just go directly into the dump because, you know, it doesn't look quite right. But I see something different. You know that little thing of romaine you probably should have thrown out? Oh, it just passed its expiration date, or expiration date, as I like to call it. Oh well, I'll just go to the store, but this is not a good idea. And I'll tell you, I'm here to tell you why. In this presentation, I would like to talk about the politics of food waste as they relate to food insecurity. I'll bringing up the political and domestic causes of and effects of food waste. Food insecurity means employment insecurity. The lack of the realistic minimum wage leaves people hungry. Current food production exceeds the rate of the population, and commodity crops are being substituted for corn crops that have subsidies attached to them, meaning there's less land for your apples. The politics. Increasing demand for biofuel is where much of the subsidized corn crop goes. These practices affect small farmers and local producers who can't compete with the financial resources of the American taxpayer. In this country, subsidized crops take up space that could have been used for other foods, and they don't boost the local economy. They go straight to Wall Street. Healthful food and sustainable agriculture have largely been ignored by U.S. policy. In many countries, there are laws that set standards for the way a potato should look, and internationally, changes reflect the way that the way food should be distributed as opposed to being produced. Most of the food vendors in certain areas are the targets of prosecution. The USDA has commodity subsidies. They give out basically money to these farmers and everything, and they're designed to help out everything. The USDA commodity subsidies in 1998 spiked dramatically, and then they tended to fall. This trend is due to the fact that there was a drought in 2012 where crop insurance subsidies increased. Most of these subsidies are given for corn, wheat, cotton, and soybeans. So a farmer just does that because they'll make more money. Now, from an environmental perspective, just 4 crops account for 2/3 of the calories we eat. For people, especially those who are uneducated and poor, the solutions are really difficult, if not impossible, to understand. Although the solutions exist, they may be way too scattered to find. There's also a belief that the people on EBT and WIC are lazy, which is extremely unfair. Those who find resources to afford food are more likely to buy, those who don't have the resources, rather. Those who do not have the resources are much more likely to buy unhealthy options than they are healthy options, as you can see in this slide right here. According to the Second Harvest Food Bank, almost 20% of people in Guilford County are food insecure. That means 19% of the population are having to make really, really tough decisions. Now let's actually talk cost on this one. In short, agribusiness, the subsidies they get, and the politicians who love them are culprits. On the consumer side, the Harvard School of Public Health did a study in which they found that $1.50 a day is all that separates you from a non-healthy versus a healthy. People with limited means are more likely to buy the chips or snacks than they are to buy apples. Now, the food that's thrown out costs the average household $2,200 a year. roughly 40% of the food does not make it to your fork. Hence that earlier analogy with all that wheat. 40% of that, oh, not like that's almost a majority. Anyways, it's just also discarded by people who misinterpret use-by dates, which is very easy to do. Now, these are some things you can do. You can talk to local shopkeepers about the issue. They may be able to donate food. You can utilize services such as texting food to 877-877. This free service provides information on local programs to feed children over the summer. You can encourage the legislature, and the sticking point of this: vote, vote, vote. I cannot make it any more clear than to say vote. I highly encourage it. Now, what you can do in your home is you can not waste food in the first place. You can plan out meals, refrain from impulse buys, and do what I do. Use a basket, not a rolling cart. Now, the use by dates are not a sign of rotting produce. They are not. Now, as a nation, we need to be much more accepting of imperfections. I know I have mine. I'm pretty sure y'all have yours unless you're God or something. But still. Now, what you can do is donate unused food to local food pantries because you're protected under Good Samaritan laws. 2 of them, in fact. Now, here's some success stories. Just look at that number, 19 million. 19 million pounds, or $24.2 million. That is insane how much food that would buy. That's insane how much, It's like donating $24.2 million to a charity. That is unheard of, pretty much. Now in Germany, there's a big network to help people rescue food. Department of Ag and the EPA have targeted the food waste. And North Carolina, the Corner Store Initiative. Look it up, people. Now, Marianne LaGreco, a UNCG professor, I'm sorry about that little typo there, presented a talk at TEDx Greensboro, and she said, "Make food mobile. Build an oasis and share food with everybody." The food is there, but political decisions bar people from getting to it. It's like a giraffe, The giraffe can't quite reach it, but if another giraffe comes down, bends the branch so that it can get to the food, then that works for everybody involved. Money from farm subsidies, and those that are most affected are often the least equipped to get help in the first place. It's nuts. Now, I would like to leave you guys with a statement from David Orr. He might know a couple things about this, because, let's see, the plain fact is that the planet does not need more successful people, but it does desperately need more peacemakers, healers, restorers, storytellers, and lovers of every kind. It needs people who live well in their places. It needs people of moral courage willing to join the fight to make the world more habitable and humane. And these qualities have little to do with success as we have defined it. And here are my sources and everything. Feel free to pause if you'd like. And thank you for the present. Thank you for the opportunity. And y'all have a nice day.